It's incredible. The tree just brought my attention to these mushrooms. It started shaking and the needles started flying all over it, and I stopped. I was about to go in a different direction and I found these guys. Oh my goodness, hi. How are you? Look how beautiful they are. These look like boletes. I just wonder what kind of boletes. Let's unearth them. They're so pretty under the slug. Oh my gosh. Oh, there are more. Look how beautiful this one is. Oh my god, you guys. Wow. Look at the surface. It's shiny. And this is the mycelium. Hello, gorgeous. Look at that. There are more. Oh wow, these are easy to spot. Wow, because they're yellow. It's not like searching for matsutake. Guys, I've never seen anything like this. Right under this big mushroom, which is a little bit older, this big bolete, there are tiny little babies all bunched up. Just like that. Oh my god. They were right here. Look, there are tiny pins right there. And these were just laying on the top, like right there, right under this big one. Are those the babies? Probably. But why so many? I didn't know. I didn't know that they grow in bunches like this, because you always see one mushroom, maybe two. Maybe it's the only one or two that make it all the way up and push it through the ground. Wow, this is incredible.
And what's more incredible is that I now found the same mushroom in multiple stages of its development, which will assist us significantly in identifying these species.
Found more what look like slippery jacks, and they're super glossy on top, but there is no slime, and they grow in bunches like this, so I'm wondering if they are slippery jacks or not. Oh, and again, there are these little babies right next to them, and they're unearthed. So interesting how this works.
Time to look through the pages of my handy mushroom identification guides, compare features, and take a spore print.
Getting our spore print and just examining the mushrooms. I cannot wait to identify them for sure. Brown spore print.
Hello my beautiful friends! So I'm back in LA and I have identified our mystery mushroom, and it is a slippery jack, which is kind of, it's a Suillus. It is a whole genus of mushrooms. So I wasn't able to identify it specific to a species, although this book, which is a hip pocket guide that I usually use for identification of mushrooms when I'm out in the field, and then I use bigger books when I'm back at home. But this one is All That Rain Promises and More by David Aurora. Really helped me get to the right mushroom. I started searching by searching up bolete mushrooms, and then when I got to granulated slippery jack, I was like, oh my god, this is definitely the mushroom. Everything matched. It has little granules on the stipe or the stem or the leg of the mushroom. It has pores on the spore surface. Everything going down here, down these little numbers. Everything matched, besides two things. One of the things that did not match for our mushroom: pores not arranged in radiating rows. Well, my mushrooms got really dark after transportation, so I can't really show you, but I think they are arranged in somewhat radiating rows. They do feel like they go from the middle of the cap and they spread out like a sun, like this. So In Suillus granulatus, if you look at the cap of the mushroom here, they're just little, right there, they're just little dots, little holes, right? They're like all over the place. They're not in radiating rows. But hey, focus. All right, so that did not match. And also, granulated slippery jacks do not grow in clusters. So what I did next is I uploaded my mushroom to iNaturalist, and immediately I got an AI suggestion for my mushroom, which was, I'll tell you, it was slippery jack. They said that for sure it's a genus Suillus, and species 99%, 97%, they're sure that it is species Puncta types. So Puncta types, doesn't it just sound like the little dots, right? So it's the one with the little dots on the stem, on the stipe. And then guess what? Puncta types is known to have these, the pores on the spore surface radiating like a sun. So that's how it's distinguished from other species. So they are arranged in distinct rows. That's what it says. But then another thing didn't match, and it said young stem is orange or brown, but our young stems were white. So I was like, oh my God, this might not be the species. And I was looking and looking for a few days for the right species. And you know what? Nothing matches exactly to the tooth for this specific mushroom, right? It's either I find everything that looks the same, but it doesn't grow under this tree where I found it. So, and then I looked at the Catch and Cook California video by Kevin, awesome guy, by the way. I took one of his classes, and he had a whole episode on genus Suillus, on slippery jacks, and he says that it is actually extremely hard to find the exact species for the genus Suillus. But the great news is, if you read this book and you go down in identification for the granulated slippery jack or for the Suillus granulatus, there's going to be a note here by the author, and it is so important. It says, this widespread slippery jack has many edible lookalikes, and then it goes on to list the many edible lookalikes. So what it basically says is that even if you can't pinpoint the species, they are edible. There are no poisonous slippery jacks. And I went and I double checked that with absolutely everything, and everybody says, yeah, there are no poisonous slippery jacks. The people do recommend to absolutely take these the cap off from the top, which is actually easily peeled. Yeah, mine got already so dark from traveling, but it peels off easily. And because it actually gets really slimy, this one is a little bit fresher. It gets really slimy if you cook with it, and aside from people just not liking the texture, you know, because it gives you like that slimy texture in the dish, they say that it gives you gastrointestinal problems, like you can have upset stomach and stuff like that if you eat the skin of the cap. Thankfully, it peels off really easily. You can just peel it off. And then a lot of people also take out the tube surface, the spore surface, this one right here. And then they just eat the cap, they slice it, and they do different things with them. But I'll tell you, the biggest discovery was not this. I was so excited. I said, oh wow, this is so awesome. I've never had a slippery jack. I cannot wait to try something with slippery jacks. I'm gonna clean up the slimy texture. I'm gonna do everything as people recommend for safety, but I cannot wait to see how they taste, because they look like bolids, they look edible, they look delicious. And guess what, guys, you won't believe this. As I was making research about them, I looked up some recipes for Suillus, and a lot of Russian recipes started coming out, because this mushroom is actually a very famous Russian mushroom called maslenak. These are maslята. Oh my God, I have been eating maslята my whole life when I was back in Belarus. So maslята are so popular. They're like all over the place, and we can them, we pickle them, we make soup with them. Maslята are just like, you know, just like the regular mushroom that you have here at the store. That's what maslenak is back in Belarus. So, oh my God, I got so excited. I thought, oh, I've never tried this mushroom, but now I feel so safe, so much safer eating it. And I'm not going to recommend this to absolutely anyone because this is how I grew up. So I bet you that the way I react to certain things is completely different than other people would. But in Russia, in Belarus, when we pickle maslята, we don't take the caps off. So the cap, not the caps, that top the skin on the cap off, right? Because it actually, that slime that comes off the cap if you wet it, that's what we're looking for when we're pickling maslята. They're known to be like this gooey pickly mushrooms, and we serve them for New Year's, for holidays, and with mashed potatoes and sauerkraut and maslята, and we just mix it all together, put a little bit of onion. Oh my God, it's the best thing in the world. So I bet you if you eat that since you were born, and depending on where you were born, you know, you have probably different microbiome, different microbiota reacting different to local things. So I will be trying them both ways, and I will tell you whether I had a reaction, because they say some people have bad reaction on the Suillus genus when the cap is not taken off, and some people are okay. So let's see. I'm gonna report later on, but I just wanted to let you know that I'm super excited that I found that these are the maslята mushrooms, and we've been eating them all along. And now I have such a huge resource guide because I can just type in Russian maslята and get a billion gazillion amazing recipes for how to pickle them and save them for winter time, or how to make an amazing mushroom soup with maslята. So what I did notice in all of the recipes though is that before doing absolutely anything with maslята, whoever is working with them, they're gonna boil them for 20 minutes. So not because it has, I mean, I haven't read anywhere in the books that it has any like toxin that has to be boiled out, but most of the traditional Russian recipes that I'm looking for at online, that the girls are like, oh, my grandma taught me how to do this. They all boil them for 20 minutes first, and then they will add them to the soup after boiling them separately, right? So changing water. Also pickling them, they're gonna boil them, get rid of that water, and then create the pickling solution and put them inside the pickling solution. So I don't know why they do it, but I do trust them because they've been doing these for many, many years, and they're sold in a store, these canned maslята, these canned Suillus mushrooms, all over Russian stores. So I say that I trust their way of doing it, and that's how I'm gonna do it. No matter what I'm gonna do with them, whether sear them, whether pickle them, whether put them in a soup, I'm going to first boil them for 20 minutes. And I think that will be where we're gonna start right now. Let's go.